Talk. Talk. Talk to me Tuesday.
Hey there, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Millie B. And yet again, we have another special show. In celebration of Father's Day and in honor of Father's Day, that's actually in a couple of days, today we're going to celebrate fatherhood. We celebrate those that have a father, those that are fathers, that are stepfathers, or even have been a father figure to someone else's child. Fatherhood of any kind is when your family leans on you for guidance and to protect. It could be a tough job, but fathers do it with such ease. To develop, take care, and protect a human is a huge gift that is given. Today, I would love to welcome the founding partner of D. Miller & Associates, Darren A. Miller, and his father, Joseph Miller. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Yes,
Good to see you, Marty.
It's such an honor to have you guys both here, and people actually get to meet where this legacy started and how your legacy, gets passed on. So I'm going to start off with Papa Miller. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from. A lot of people are meeting you for the first time today.
Originally, I was born in Jamaica. Unfortunately, at age 9, my father died. At age 15, my mother died. So, in order to get some semblance in life, I had to think of the things that I needed to do in order to elevate myself. Fortunately, the school, and this is a primary school, this has never happened before, but they helped me. They gave me a leg up, so to speak, and paid me the first year that I was working with them in order to help some of the, to give meals or to set out meals for the children. These were food that was supplied by America to Jamaica at the time. But from then on, I had to try and help to get myself structured in order to move on.
Wow, that's
And he
awesome.
also we had a really big family. He's got lots of sisters around, and they helped a lot with kind of making sure that he stayed on course. Because if my father's anything like me, we need a little help staying on course.
And let me ask you this, Papa Miller. I know you have a son, which is Darren Miller, who's on the show, but how many children total do you have, and where did you raise your children?
I have 2 children. One boy, no, a young man, and a young lady.
There you go. Awesome.
Now,
And I am the favorite. I am the favorite. When my sister sees that, she'll have some comments on that, but I'm the favorite.
So we can't speak on that because she's not here on the show, right, Papa Miller?
That's it. We immigrated to England very early, at a very early age, because I had the opportunity now, it offered better opportunities than Jamaica did. But because my scholastic qualification was only secondary school, I aspired to become an electrical engineer. So I didn't do any science subject at secondary school, so I had to go to night school in order to acquire physics and chemistry.
Wow, hard worker there, and then with 2 little ones. I think that's something to definitely admire. Now, Darren, I do want to turn it over to you. And for those that haven't seen you for a while, tell us a little bit about yourself. And I also want you to conclude with, how many children do you have?
Okay, well, graduate Texas A&M, MBA from St. Thomas, of course, practicing attorney here for the last 22 years, mostly in personal injury. Now we're dibbling and dabbling in mass torts, if you want to say that. I love what I do and enjoy it a lot. Now, the different companies we have are obviously blowing up because of all the opportunities that are being presented to us. And from a family perspective, happily married for 22 years and 4 wonderful children.
Nice. 4 children, and then Papa Millie, you had 2. And you know what? Fatherhood is something beautiful. So we definitely want to recognize Mother's Day was just around the corner, and now we're focusing on you guys, the fathers of the family, the ones that carry that household. Now, whenever you guys first find out that you're going to have a child, the excitement is different, right? Than the women. But I want you guys to tell us a little bit, especially Papa Miller, talk to us and tell us a little bit about that feeling when you first became a father with your eldest child.
I think it was one of the most interesting experience I've ever had. I've never gone down this road before. At the time, I think, I was going to a technical college. That's where I did electronic and electrical engineering. And one of the things that it really motivated me to set up a platform in order to help the children to grow. So I had to focus very heavily now on the profession that I wanted to have, so that not only do I establish ourselves there in England, but help the children to grow. So that motivated me much more.
Wow. And I know you said you have a young man and a young lady. So tell us a little bit about the difference between the excitement and then in between years, once you already had one, how did that all change to now have a baby girl versus a baby boy?
Extremely interesting. One of the things that I noticed first is Darren's aspiration, my son's aspiration. He normally get involved with comic books, and I can't remember, but I knew he wanted to be a lawyer from a very, very, very young age. And until quite a few years ago, he achieved this quite, 20 odd years ago. When I said a few years ago, he was able to achieve this. But the thing that really stood out, he was extremely focused on getting there. And there was nothing else. He was never sidetracked. He knew what he wanted to achieve, and this is what he accomplished. And today, he just continues to grow.
Yeah, continues
to grow. He just continued to grow.
That's awesome. And now, Darren, I want to turn it over to you. And you mentioned you had 4 kids, and I want you to talk to us about the excitement when you found out first that you were going to become a father, and then to become a father again and again. Talk to us a little bit about that feeling.
Well, my experience was different. It wasn't so much more as much excitement as I was scared. I was scared because it's like, if I mess up with my wife, that's okay. But now we've got this baby to consider that now I have to provide for, and I've got to make real and important decisions on. I mean, that was a game changer. That was an absolute game changer. And then when the twins came along a few years after that, that was the feeling. Then went from being scared to absolute disbelief. I'm telling you guys should have been in the room when the doctor said, you've got twins. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, twins? Are you crazy? Not only is there's 2 of them, there's 2 babies. No, there's everything double. There's all the expenses through the roof. There's the budget. Forget about it. So that was another questionable time. And then the experience for number 4, Morgan, my lovely little baby, beautiful baby girl, was absolute disbelief. Why? Because she was not supposed to come. She was an absolute surprise. Like, what? What? Pregnant? We're supposed to start with 3. Who's going to pay for all these kids, especially going through college? So those are the different experiences that I had. I remember that distinctly.
Wow, I think you've kind of nailed it on the head with the emotions that a father will experience, from scared to disbelief to no, this can't be real. You've kind of just put all the emotions out there of what a potential father may feel when they first find out for the first time. Now,
Right.
Papa Miller, I want to turn it back to you. How was that feeling when you became a grandfather?
It awesome is a good word. It pretty much describes it. But the thing that really I focused on a lot at the time was the fact that there was such a beautiful foundation that was made. And I looked at it as, for me, it was a great sense of achievement. I had achieved my goals, becoming the person I wanted to be, an engineer. And then there comes Darren with his wife and his children. And the thing, he became focused on his profession and just building that family structure. For me, I was extremely satisfied with what was taking place because of where I was coming from. And then to look at the way in which he was growing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I remember a little bit differently, okay? And the word that comes to mind is inequitable. And where does that come from? Because I saw how Papa treated these grandkids. Here, you guys want some candy? Here. You want some money? Here. If I ask for some candy or some money, you better go earn it. You better go out and get it. I was given nothing. I'm like, what's going on? Now these kids can do anything. They can destroy anything. They can do anything they want. There's a total double standard between your kids and these grandkids. And I don't think that's fair.
You have a very good point. But when you have everything that you need, I never see that you need it for anything.
See, there you go. Good point.
You know what? I remember if I wanted something, when I grew up, I didn't have anything. If I wanted something, I would go out there and get it. And then if these kids want something, here you go. Hey, Edith, come give these kids some money. They're giving the money away. What happened when I wanted money when I was a kid?
Well, look, I think it's beautiful because, Papa Miller, you instilled on Darren Miller, to go work hard and to, it kind of shows with his career on how he's really put that work into effect. And I want to talk a little bit about that foundation. And I want to talk a little bit about those characteristic traits. So, Papa Miller, what are some characteristic traits that remind you that you used of your father, when, once you were 9 and those years? What are those characteristic traits that you now have that when you raised your son and your daughter, which were some of those traits?
Well, my father worked very hard. He was in farming, and I think he went on farm workers. He came to America to work. But his life was short-lived. So one of the things that I had to do was to set a foundation to establish ourselves, because I had a wife and then the children came along. But fortunately, I was able to, the company I was working for, I'm not sure if I should say the name of the company,
Sure.
Texas Instrument. I was an engineer for them. And they allowed me to travel to wherever they had places. And we lived in an environment which, for me, they made sure that I was in an environment that reflected them and what they do. And the good thing that did, that helped us to get structure in our family. And also, from my perspective, it assisted both Andrea and Darren to get structured and focused in how to to set themselves up.
Nice.
So for me, that was an awesome thing.
Yeah, and I want to ask you the same question, Darren. Based on that foundation that your father established, which he got from his father, what are some characteristic traits that you have that remind you of your father?
Again, the big thing with mom and dad growing up was opportunity, making sure that we had more of an opportunity than they had, right? And we dad didn't have a chance when he was back home. He had no parents. There was no parents there to help, to assist, to create and establish that foundation. So, luckily he had some strong sisters and good family with which to assist with that process. But it was always instilled upon me the importance of education, the importance of hard work. And, I remember my dad, even when I was in school, he would work during the day, okay, to make sure that we had a roof over our heads. And then at night, he'd be going to school, he'd be going to college. And he was doing this forever and ever and ever. So he established work ethic, the importance of education, the fact that to want more, the fact that all your friends are out there playing and all those other things. Well, we're not doing that. Education, getting prepared, moving forward. So setting those particular goals, that was never even a choice for me, because it was second nature to both my parents, because they both had a fairly rocky upbringing, but they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. And so it was kind of an easy game plan for me to follow as I grew up as a child.
I think that's awesome. With hard work, education, having a lot of goals, I think that's awesome. So now I want to talk about your kids, Darren, your nephews, and even Papa Miller, your grandkids. What are some of those traits that you guys see in your next generation?
The traits that I see in each of them literally are tentacled in different directions, depends on professionally what they aspire to. But the good thing about them is that they have an awesome foundation. Not only have they got an awesome foundation, but they themselves are establishing that educational route to help them to get established. I am extremely impressed.
Wow.
With the progress they are making and the sacrifice that they are making in order to achieve their future. Yes, I believe we are totally blessed.
Yes.
In analyzing that, it's very interesting, because when you look at the kids, they have these very different characteristics. But some of them, like for example, the twins. There's competition between the 10 twins with regards to grades and who's going to do better. And it's so interesting. And I want to say this, that they've had the identical same grades. Okay, now they're in the 10th grade. They have the same exact grades all the way through till now, which is just absolutely crazy, which is very interesting. And then, our nephews and the twins, they're all very close and they bond with each other, but there's so much competition between them with regard, whether it's athletics or whether it's, trying to get different scholarships, whether it's scoring well on different tests. So, you see a lot of that. And because of the close-knit nature that we have, and the fact that when someone discovers something that's interesting, for example, one of the kids started talking about investing in some stocks and things of that nature, then they bring it to the rest of the kids, and man, it just flows through. And so again, you see that work ethic that's kind of passed down from grandparents to us, trying to teach them the right thing, to the kids that are just teaching themselves. So it's just a really interesting dynamic, and it's just so much fun to watch. It really is.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. Go ahead, Papa Miller.
It is so satisfying, whether it's scholastically or sports. They go about this in a not physically aggressive, but mentally aggressive. And it is so fulfilling for me to sit back and watch them, how competitive they are, even in trading. Darren has helped them how would you describe it? What you do in order to help them, to establish them in trading?
Yeah, you mean the stock market?
The stock market.
Yeah,
Even the stock market, that's a very competitive field. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just that they're sharing and they're learning with each other. That we had there was an anniversary last week, a week or two ago, with regards to Black Wall Street, right? And so we had them do kind of a little presentation amongst each other to talk about what that meant, the ramifications of that from a historical perspective, and then also they're kind of comparing each other's, because they all have these small little stock portfolios, and what kind of trades they're making, and which are winners, which are losers, what direction certain people are going into. And it's just really interesting to see these kids a few years ago that were playing with little Legos.
Yeah.
They're making decisions with regards to, well, I think I'm going to get involved in cryptocurrency and all the, where is this coming from? Which is really cool.
It's awesome. Awesome.
I think it's great that they're starting at such a young age, instilling those characteristic traits that you guys are both working so hard and making sure your family sees it, they feel it. And not just that, they're motivating each other for the other kids. And I think that is awesome. Now, this show is, to reflect on the fatherhood and kind of look into what fatherhood means. So Darren, if you could describe with 3 words, or even more if you need more, describe your father on what he meant to you as a father figure, what would you say?
A protector. He was a great motivator, a leader of the household. Again, kind of teaching me how to treat women, how to the importance of education, as we've talked about, the values and what's important in life. I often say, I wouldn't be in the position that I was if I didn't have the great leadership that I have from my father. I don't know, when I see that, when I remember that his father passed away at 9, we are so blessed and so lucky to be where we are right now. And it's because part of it is because, when I'm riding home from school, from the office, sometimes I talk to my dad about certain things in terms of, hey, this is what's kind of gone on at the office. And then he gives me some of his insights, because again, what my father hasn't told you is that even though he was working at Texas Instruments during the day, then he would be doing other things at night, opening other real estate ventures, other businesses. Okay. And he was always wanting more, always driving, always pushing. And I think you guys see some of that in me. Well, it's because of him that it's not just kind of, okay, let's just get this paycheck and we're good to go. It's like, no, we want more. And this is why. So those are some of the things that he's taught me over the years.
That's nice. Now, Papa Miller, I want to ask you the same question. 3 words that you would describe your son and how you see him being a father to his children.
3 words. Conscientious. I'm going to say aggressive, because he sets his goal and focused.
Nice.
Very, very focused. This is a place, with the place where I am right now. If I sit and think about it for any length of time, it brings tears to my eyes. The tears it brings to my eyes is not of sadness, just the way in which he has taken control of the lifestyle of the offspring, both sides of his sister, his offspring. And for me right now, it just appears as if he's catapulted them into the future. Why do I say catapulted? When you have something planted in your brain as to what to do and what you need to achieve, because that's the thing he's doing for them.
Yeah.
They cannot help, because he had one idea when we were in England, is for him to become a lawyer. But now they have several ideas which he has planted in their minds, both the girls and the boys. It is a blessing, extreme blessing for me.
Yeah, tears of joy for sure. And I know, both of you guys are going to keep having that because those kids are going to grow up and just keep surprising you guys and keep carrying on that legacy, which I think is awesome. For anyone that's watching, the legacy is very important. Now, I want you guys to also help those that are watching. What has been some of the most challenging things that you guys have experienced in the fatherhood realm?
Look, it certainly hasn't been one big party with regards to some of the decisions that these kids make, right? I mean, even a few weeks ago, I love my son, love him to death. But as soon as I see him, I think making good decisions with it. He's at Trinity. He's at one of the best schools in the state of Texas, and he's doing well there academically. And I'm thinking, my boy, he's very mature. He's coming along. Everything looks good. Then he borrows my car one night and just he totals it and he destroys it because he's still a child. And it's tough for me to watch that and to understand what are you doing? But then I think back to how I was at that age. He's doing the same things that I did. So again, just understanding that as well as they're excelling in school and as mannerly as they may be, they're still children, and you still have to finish. They're still not cooked yet. You have to finish cooking them, finish preparing them for the world, and that's been one of the biggest challenges for me.
The seeds are planted. You just have to keep watering it. One of the things that they must realize that disappointment will come. But the thing that they have to do, one word, is to persevere. It may not come easy, but they must persevere.
Wow.
And they'll achieve the ambition.
That's great. That's great that you guys have a different perspective, and I like it. Now, I want to kind of flip the coin a little bit. What has been some of the most rewarding things as fatherhood that you guys have experienced?
My rewards, the best rewards I have is internal. And let me explain. It's to look at the fruits. If you look at the fruits, which are the children, that's enough satisfaction. Money at my age doesn't really mean that much. Why? I don't need a bigger house. I'm comfortable. I don't need a bigger car. So if you want to buy me a new one, that's fine. But when I look at my offspring and the way they are progressing, and when I reflect on where I came from, hard work and study pays off.
There you go.
When I look at see each one of these 7 grandchildren, right? Each one of them, I'm so proud of them in so many different ways, right? I mean, Joseph, he tested very well. He got a nice scholarship to Trinity, so that kind of helps. I'm looking at my nephews, how they are able to excel both athletically and in the classroom. I mean, EJ, he wants to go to Stanford. He really wants to go to Stanford. His grades are fantastic. He just took his SATs, and he did extremely well. His goals are well up there. And so he then his younger brothers are watching him and seeing what he's doing and seeing the importance of being excellent in the classroom, being excellent on the field, and the importance of that. Even, last week I was with Morgan, and, while she is my most challenging child in some degree, ballet, she is killing it, doing well. And then I was thinking, in middle school, I thought she's going to be my biggest educational challenge. She's got straight A's through high school, and she's got the best grades of any one of the kids. So it's like each one of them, when I look at it, it's like, man, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And as much as I want to take credit for myself and for my father, I think it has a lot to do with my wife. My wife is the total architect of creating and instilling all of that. So I got to give her a little shout out too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now, I know you guys are talking about the challenges and the rewards, right? But I will have to ask, every father has a different approach. They're either the protector, the friend, the bad guy, whichever one. But in the family, I will want to ask you guys, what has been your favorite thing about being a father?
For me, I guess the favorite thing is we very fortunately we've had some success in business, as you guys know, and being able to kind of bring that home and then share it with the family. Right now downstairs we have a house full of people because my sister and her family has come down, and the house is a total wreck. There's games everywhere, there's food everywhere, but everyone's having a great time and hanging out with each other and spending time with each other and getting closer with each other. I mean, this is again what it's all about, right? You bring home the spoils of victory from outside, you bring it in, and you share it with your family. And for us to be able to do that, last night all the boys went out. Last night we went to the movies. We went and saw a quiet. What is it? A quiet place. Two. Good movie, by the way. Good movie. I mean, it's just having fun. Get what you want, eat what you want, do what you want. Being able to share those types of things with your family, it's fantastic. That's what I love.
Yeah, the fathers may be the cornerstone. I think they are the cornerstone. But what helps them, what really secures them where they are the wives.
Mm.
The wives, we probably haven't spoken enough about what it is they do to make sure that we continue to be centered and focused. And the work that they put in order for us, well, just for the whole family to function like a well-oiled machine.
Mm.
I think we can't give them enough credit.
Yeah.
Both his wife, my wife, and wives in general.
You can give me more credit if you'd like, Father. If you'd like.
It's a beautiful moment. And I love that comment that you said, Papa Miller, about, the wives being the center of the men. And, some fathers out there may or may not have wives. So, finding what your center is, I think is very important. Now, Darren, I want to ask you, when you became a father, what did you adapt to the parenting style of your parents? Like, what did you say, I'm going to take that, or no, thank you for that?
Man, my parents were fantastic. I mean, look, coming from England over to the United States and, to New York, to Lubbock, to Houston, my parents were fantastic. I wanted for nothing, because one of the things, that my parents definitely wanted for me was, look, these kids are not going to suffer the way that we had to suffer. Okay. And, when I was old enough as a teenager to go over to the Caribbean and kind of saw the way in which they were raised and the way in which they grew up and how modest it was, it's like, wow, really? This is what y'all had to deal with? And so it helped me get more of an appreciation as to, what life was all about and the importance of it. So, I just continue to instill some of the things that they showed me in terms of hard work, love, affection, making time for your family, the sacrifices that you need to make in order to make sure that the kids are taken care of. Because, my dad was nice and he was always flashy. He was Mr. Flashy. He had a Mercedes. He drove a Mercedes when we were younger, a blue 450 SEL. But before he got that, he would make sure, okay, you got this, you got this, you got this. Okay, now I can get my toy. And so it showed me what was important, because I'll tell you, we had many other relatives who weren't that way, who would buy for themselves while the bills weren't paid or the rent wasn't taken care of. And so my parents, I'm sorry, they showed me the right way with regards to what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. And those things, it was just easy for me because I knew from day one, this is what my responsibilities are.
That's awesome.
I need to ask you a question. I can't remember. You got a car when you were going to high school.
Yes, sir.
What type of car was that?
I got a Formula Firebird when I was 15. I didn't like that before I turned 16, and then a few days later I didn't like that, and so then my parents were gracious enough to let me get a red Trans Am. I loved that Trans Am, and so but I worked hard. I was a good kid. I made good grades. And I think I was entitled to that car. I believe I was entitled to it.
Okay. Papa Miller's cooking something. Tell us. So
now, that has been very catching. It didn't only stop with him. And the reason why I brought it up is because he had it at an early age. But the thing about it is, so does his children. So it didn't only, it started with him. But go ahead.
Yeah, the difference is I earned my car. Those brats that I have, they didn't earn anything. They're given stuff, and I don't know. I don't have much say in it. It just happens.
So you only adapted half of your father's style, right? You gave them stuff, but didn't have them work hard.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Yes.
No.
But the whole experience, though, to hear, it really blows me away. It blows me away because hard work and planning. There's no substitute for hard work and proper planning.
Yeah, for sure. And make sure all the kids watch the show so they can really get some of these golden nuggets. Now, Darren and Papa Miller, I want to ask what are some of the traditions, Papa Miller, that you instilled in your son, but now that you see your grandchildren doing the traditions?
I'm sorry, you said what did I instill?
What type of traditions did you pass on that you see your grandchildren doing some of those traditions?
But I'm not sure educationally.
Christmas is like really important to us. I mean, Christmas, you know, Papa during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, he cooks my father cooks the best turkey, and he comes over the night before Christmas Eve, Thanksgiving Eve, and we have, you know, he starts cutting it up, and we're stealing the pieces as they come off, and it's just so. It's weird because I don't like sharing. I don't like sharing the turkey with these kids, these little kids that I want some, and you know that was kind of a difficult transition for me. That was tough. That's one of the important traditions I remember.
Yeah, that is correct. But the unfortunate, I may have to pass that on to the grandkids because he didn't assimilate it at all.
It skipped a generation.
No, he just can't cook.
I can't. I can cook. I can't cook. I don't cook the turkey, but I can cook. I've made some chicken and some rice and some things from time to time, so I can cook, sir.
But can you cook like your father is a better question.
No, I can't. I can't cook I cannot cook like my dad. My dad's a good cook. He doesn't have to do it much because mom takes care of a lot of those things. But Papa can throw down in the kitchen.
So Papa, you're gonna show the grandkids, how to have some good Jamaican food, huh?
I'm not too sure if I'm going to get very far with that because he has been able to provide them with so many different alternatives. I'm not sure if I'll have time to get that in. He wins out right in this part.
I told you, they're so spoiled.
Yeah,
We can't control them. They don't listen to us. They don't. No.
Well, I have a very special comment that came up. I actually have two. So I have Andrea saying, I so wish I was on this show. So many sassy comments could be inserted right here. And then she wrote another comment. I knew you back then. Ha. Oh boy. And I know you're amazing kiddos. Ha. She is being funny over here behind the screen.
Is that my sister
on the show?
Yeah. Oh, too bad she was too scared to come on the show after what I did to her on the Mother's Day show. But that's okay. I'll give her a chance to redeem herself maybe sometime else, some other time. Yeah, I'll say that. How about that?
We'll have a special show with just her, so she's able to redeem herself completely on her own. So that's awesome. But I do want to ask you guys, the Millers here, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? And has it already been fulfilled in a way?
For me, it definitely has been fulfilled. I am overwhelmed with what has, no, not what has been achieved, what is being achieved today because of my son. I'm not sure if I have the imagination to project into the future as to where they will be, because he, for one, as a son, is one of my biggest surprises. I did not know that he would have, the only terminology to use is excelled in such a fashion.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a second, because growing up, and Andrea can attest to this, Andrea was Daddy's favorite. She was Daddy's little girl, okay? And hey, Andrea, you're great, you're awesome. Me, I'm kind of like out in the cold, like, hey, what am I, chopped liver over here? And so they weren't expecting that much from me, but that's okay. It's okay, because I knew what I had to do, and I proved it, and I took care of business. So Andrea, that's why I'm the favorite now, not only for Dad, but for Mom. But look, I'm kidding about that. But look, one of the things that I'm really proud about, as far as those issues are concerned, in terms of legacy, Dad, along with Mom, they've given us these great values. They've given us this great setup. And I look at what I've been able to accomplish. I look at what my sister is doing along with her husband in Austin, the church that they've set up, the absolute fantastic ministry that they've got going on there. Yeah, yes, we're making money here, but they're saving lives. They're helping people. They're making sacrifices. And again, all those things are an offshoot of the foundation that they've got from Dad and from Mom and Dad. So very proud. So the legacy, to some degree, especially when I see where the kids are, right? Especially when I see where the kids are and how ambitious they are and what they want out of life. It's just going to be so rewarding to watch and see what they do, because I know those kids are going to do some special things. And just to be a part of that and have my hand in that process, regardless if they become lawyers or whatever the case they may be, as long as they're happy, it's just going to be great to watch that unfold.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went here, because I needed to pay my daughter homage, proper homage. He's involved in the legal profession. She's involved in the ministry right now. And I think the Bible put it that we are being transformed into the image of Jesus Christ. That's how the Bible puts it. And the same thing that he's doing, so it's being done both ways. He's doing this with the family structure, which goes into others. She's doing it with, spiritually in the church. And there's no end to how this can spread and continue. Where we are, it is a blessing that both of them are able to contribute in the manner in which they are contributing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I see it. Both of your kids are able to help others in different ways. really get able to help the community. I think this is super impactful, and you could do that in so many ways, whether it's a certain profession, a lawyer, a doctor, ministry. And I think your legacy has been, passed on from your two kids. And then I know all your grandchildren are going to do the same, if not even more, to keep helping others. I think that's beautiful. Now, this weekend is going to be an important weekend. Just in case you guys forgot, Father's Day is on Sunday. It's coming up in a couple of days. So we are honoring the fathers, and specifically the Millers as well as the Moores. So now tell us, what does this day mean to you? I know you guys are all together in one household to honor those three men, but what does this mean to each and every one of you guys?
It's we have so much fun with each other, right? I mean, it's just when we get together this week, just to have the opportunity to be together as one, to share some food, to watch some games, to watch the kids play in the pool or doing whatever they're doing. It just to have that time together and spend with each other and fellowship, and it's just fantastic. This is what it's all about, right? We've worked so hard for all these years, going back to when Dad was in Lubbock and doing things that he didn't want to do, and back in New York and staying in school. Because of all those sacrifices, it's built up to what we've got now, and so it's just so enjoyable looking around and seeing everyone smiling and having fun and enjoying themselves and doing it together. And that's what it's all about. It's about family and enjoying that process by which we get to spend time with each other as much as we possibly can.
For me, again, I may use the word a blessing, but there's no other terminology that I can use that really substitutes there. For me to have lived this long, and why do I say to have lived this long? Because of the age that I spoke of earlier, when my mother died and my father died. They died when they were young. And for me to be able to experience this and to have lived this long, I really pray, above everything else, I hope others can look at it. If we can do it, they too can do it, if they make just a little sacrifice.
Yes, thank you for that. I think that's beautiful. And look, we're coming to the end of the show, and everyone that I have on the show, it's always very important to ask this last question. For those that are watching, that are fathers, that are single fathers, that are trying to figure out their way currently right now, what are some words of wisdom or advice you would like to give out to those fathers that are watching right now in whatever situation they're in, to make sure that they keep going and keep raising their kids?
One word I would like to use here, and I hope you can find it in the dictionary. It's called stick-to-itiveness. Mm. It may not be easy to even start, but if you stick to it and continue to work at it, and especially if you can work at it like, Darren does with his wife, Andrea does with her husband, and I do with my wife, they will make it.
Well, I can't be as eloquent as Father is, but I think Tupac said it best: to keep your head up. I mean, look, there's going to be a number of challenges that come with being a father, being a husband, being a leader, and you're going to make good choices, hopefully most of the time, but you're going to make the wrong choices sometimes. But you stick with it. As Father said, you move forward, you learn from your mistakes, you continue to get better, you do what you think is best at that current time based upon those circumstances. And that's what you've got to do, and keep learning from those mistakes and try your best not to repeat them. I've made so many mistakes in my lifetime, and I just figure out, okay, that didn't work. Stop touching that stove; it's hot, and you learn from those mistakes. And as long as you continue to do that and admit your shortcomings, I think you're a long way with regards to making sure things are better for the next generation.
That is awesome. And I want to thank you guys for allowing me the honor to interview you guys, the Millers, the legacy on what fatherhood means and what, fatherhood means to the next generations to come that you guys have in your family. I want to thank you guys for being on the show. It was such an honor to have you guys.
Thanks for having us, Monty.
Thank you.
You too,
Yes.
Giselle.
My
Yes, sir.
pleasure. So I want to thank you guys for watching the show, and for all the fathers out there, we want to recognize you for any of those traits that you have helped someone's child or even a child that's in need out there. We want to thank you for that, and to keep pushing, keep being the protector, and keep raising those lives that need you as guidance, as a mentor. We want to thank all of you guys for watching, and more specifically for sharing the show. The more you share it, the more we get to touch more lives out there and get to help others as well. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Talk to Me Tuesday on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Madi B. Till next time.
Bye.